Here comes the money. You're now listening to the Gambling with Gold podcast with Jason Gold. Presented by Champions Round.
All right, let's close out the show with a little Survivor talk. So we're still in Survivor, still riding strong. The circuit contest in Vegas started off with 6,163 participants. We're now down to 1,200. I think the cash begins at 500. I don't know how this got out of control so quickly, but I'm here for it. Here are the options that I have on the board for this week. Green Bay, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, Minnesota, and Kansas City. Is there another team on the board you think that I should be looking at that I'm not looking at?
I would say if I had to choose, maybe the Eagles against the Cardinals. But
I can't use them anymore for the record. But if you haven't chosen them out, but we're talking to everybody out here. So
true.
You haven't chosen the Eagles, my personal opinion is be save them for a home game. I don't want any part of them on the road. Even though we both hate Cliff Kingsbury, so maybe this is an easy win. But there has to be better value on the board somewhere else, I think.
Yeah, I feel like you would want to save. Did you say the Bills are an option for you specifically? So I feel like you want to save the Bills, right?
Exactly. So the Bills, obviously the biggest spread on the board, probably is the easiest bet to make this week, and I'm sure a lot of people will do it. But you do want to play this long game also. So if you have Buffalo, weeks 9 and week 16, they are expected to have the best future value, quote unquote, on the board left. So I would say them at least for week 9. Week 16, you get into a dicey situation where you're kind of trying to save your life at that point. But week 9 might be a really good spot to use the Buffalo Bills. Green Bay also has great future value. I'm not sure that I want to use them in the London game, but if you're feeling dicey about my favorite here, I would say go for Green Bay over Buffalo. I think it's a relatively safe play. Jacksonville versus Houston is an interesting one. I like Houston in that game at plus 7.5, so I can't really do this. But I do think that if you're confident on Jacksonville winning this game, you're not going to get a better spot to use them than at home against the Houston Texans. So you could play this game where you take them now and pray that Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson get it done. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I actually think it's really smart for gameplay, but it's probably the riskiest one on the board. It depends on what your risk tolerance is. Minnesota, kind of the same deal. You're not really going to get a better spot than them at home versus Chicago. I don't feel good about that game at all. I think Chicago is going to cover that game. And it's going to be close. Also, I just you only have to pick 17, 18 teams. In our conference, we have to pick 20. There's 12 teams I'm going to leave off the board. I might leave off Minnesota at some point off the board because I don't want to deal with the Kirk experience from a Survivor pick. So that means that my two favorite come down to Kansas City, which I think there's more future value than dealing with the Raiders. And my actual pick, and we've talked about them as both of my best bets, I think the Tampa Bay, this is the spot you use Tampa Bay. It's a high EV plus play. The only other week that I would use them is week 17. And again, I'm not going to try and save them for week 17. So I'm going to go with the Bucs this week, I think. But my second pick, I think, would be Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would probably say Green Bay or the Bucs are a no-brainer. I like picking Green Bay in this spot just because I wouldn't want to waste the Bills, and I don't want to waste the Bucs. So that'd be mine. Survivor pick pool, Green Bay against the Giants.